This morning on DC News Now, we're going to be tracking those high temperatures climbing into low 90s. Not only that, it will feel like it's mid to upper 90s when you factor in that humidity. So a hot and humid start to the week. When do we finally start to notice some relief? All of those details coming up.
Also coming up this morning, the doors open today at DC Public Schools. What students will have to do before entering, how crews have been working to get the buildings ready, and the new faces those students will notice.
Plus, off the field, a Commanders player recovering after being shot. What police say led up to the violence and reaction from the coach.
It's a future where NASA will land the first woman and the first person of color on the moon.
All right, good Monday morning to you at home. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Corey James.
Good morning. I'm Tanaya Wright. It is now 6 o'clock on this Monday morning. Big day in more ways than one. We are now just hours away from a historic launch. There it is right now. This is a live look at Cape Canaveral, Florida. This morning, the uncrewed Artemis 1 will lift off. Well, we do know Snoopy, stuffed animal, will be on board, but that's the only thing on board, no people. This is just the first step towards the future of space exploration.
And the big story here in the DMV, hundreds of thousands of students returning to the classroom this morning. Our team is here to help get everyone ready. Joseph Omo and Lex Juarez are covering First Day festivities. But Shanika Grimshaw will get you around with any traffic updates. And we begin first with meteorologist Jackie Layer. Jackie, how should people dress this morning?
Well, I think a t-shirt and shorts will be fine for anyone, students, teachers, staff, as they're heading into school, just because we are seeing temperatures starting off into the 60s to low 70s, but it's still a humid start to the morning. But just want to remind everyone, as they're heading out, visibility has been reduced for some. We're talking 2 miles in Culpeper, 1 in Frederick. We're down to 2 miles in Winchester. So very low visibility in a few locations. You will need to take it slow on your travels, and also take it slow around those school zones, and as well as those school buses this morning as those kids are heading back into school. Temperatures out there right now, 60s right along I-81 areas off towards the north and west. But as you get closer towards DC, that's where temperatures are starting off. The upper 60s to low to mid 70s. Currently in DC, we're coming in at 76. Those dew points, it's a soupy feel. We're seeing those dew points now low 70s from DC to Manassas down towards Fredericksburg. Elsewhere, we're seeing those dew points starting off into the 60s. And for that school bus forecast, we'll see those temperatures varying into the 70s through much of the morning hours. Not only that, we'll see a mix of sun and clouds once that sun rises, as sunrise is scheduled just a little bit after 6:30 this morning. And we'll see those high temperatures back into the low 90s later on this afternoon. It will be a hot and humid afternoon for any of those after school plans that you may have. As we get towards tomorrow, though, still another hot and humid day, but we do see the potential for some strong thunderstorms. More details on the timing of those coming up right now. I'll toss it over to Shanika for the all-important traffic update. How's it looking out there?
Not so good, Jackie. Happy back to school for many of you out there. Montgomery County, we're talking about 270 in Rockville, headed southbound. We're dealing with a crash, slowing a lot down, as you can see. Slow-moving traffic. Let's flip over to the map. So this crash happened right near Montrose Road, exit 4, and so that's between exit 4 and the 270 spur. That's where you'll see the bulk of the issues out here. You're all in the red pretty much. And then we have more issues. First, checking out the inner and outer loop, Capitol Beltway near Pennsylvania Avenue in Prince George's County. You see a little bit of fog there. Remember, low beams, low speeds over there. Oxon Hill, the inner loop of the Beltway, we found a crash near St. Barnabas Road, but it's not slowing anything down. Your biggest issue, though, is coming out of Hagerstown toward Frederick. We still have that crash to the right shoulder. That's right on the Frederick-Washington County line right before exit 17. So do keep that in mind as you're headed out. All right, over to you.
All right, Shanika, thank you. Happening now, a Washington Commanders player recovering in the hospital.
That's right. This morning, police are searching for whoever shot him. DC police say this all happened on H Street in Northeast. According to a statement by the Commanders, Brian Robinson was shot during an armed robbery or carjacking on Sunday evening at about 6 o'clock. Officers say they're now looking for 2 teens who are wearing black or brown shirts with yellow smiley faces on them. Now, we did see a white Dodge Charger being towed from the scene. According to our sports director, that belongs to Robinson. The owner of a nearby restaurant describes the scene after the gunfire.
There were about 8 people on the patio, and all of a sudden, boom, they ran in, like running inside, and at the back door, and I didn't know what was going on, and then they said there were gunshots.
Now, we could hear more from the team today. We're expecting probably 2, but the head coach, Ron Rivera, tweeted last night, Quote, I just got done visiting with Brian. He's in good spirits and wanted me to thank everyone for their kind words, prayers, and support. He wants his teammates to know that he appreciates them all for reaching out and he loves them all and will be back soon doing what he does best. Several players have taken to social media to wish him a speedy recovery. All right, your time right now is 6:04 this morning. This year, D.C. police are reporting a 4% increase in stolen cars across the city compared to this very same time last year. Now, there has been a little over 2,200 car thefts compared to a little less than 2,200 in 2021. D.C. ended 2021 with an overall 8% increase in carjackings.
Happening today, making our way back to the moon. In just a few hours, NASA's Artemis 1 mission will mark the start of a new chapter in space exploration. We're taking a live look at the rocket as crews prepare for the big launch this morning. It's been 50 years since NASA's last trip to the moon. Today's test flight puts big plans in motion with the goal of getting people, specifically women and people of color, to the surface of the moon by 2025. Now, this flight will not have any people on it, and the 322-foot rocket is set to take off this morning between 8:33 and 10:33 in Cape Canaveral, Florida. Now, NASA's leaders say it looks like all systems are a go after a weekend of storms.
We have some strikes that we recorded on our tower, lightning tower at the pad, working as it nominally should, and we did have those. We've been evaluating those through yesterday and through last night, and everything to date, it looks very good from a vehicle perspective.
Artemis is not just going to the moon and coming back. The mission will take about 6 weeks from start to finish. And breaking down the trip by numbers, CNN reporting Artemis is set to travel 1.3 million miles on this trip. And when it comes back down to Earth, it will be at nearly 25,000 miles per hour before slowing back down to 17 miles an hour as it splashes down in the Pacific Ocean.
All right, your time right now is 6:06. The school buses firing up once again across the DMV. Students in Washington County, Maryland, Prince George's County, Montgomery County, and D.C. public schools will all head back to class this morning. Our Joseph Omo is live this morning and begins our team coverage. He is live at the school within school at Gauding Elementary. Joseph, good morning.
Hey, Tanaya, good morning to you. Listen, let's just start off with what is a school within a school here at Gauding Elementary, which is right behind me here. So they do things a little bit differently here. Teachers are in charge in the building here, not so much other administrators. Another thing that's different here is that they like to bring the kids outside of the classroom a little bit more. There's actually a huge playground area right to my side here that we're going to show you once it gets a little bit lighter outside. But there is one piece of homework for DCPS students. Doesn't matter if you're elementary, middle, or high school. There's one piece of homework you had to get done by today, and that is, of course, the coronavirus test. That is right. That's the ticket into the classroom today for all DCPS students. You got to have a negative coronavirus student, teachers as well, to get into school. Now, if for whatever reason you didn't upload your positive results to the DCPS website last night, kids will be required to take a test at the door. Now, remember, kids over 12 have to also be vaccinated against COVID-19 and show proof. However, you don't have to show that proof until November 21st. So you got some time if your kid still isn't vaccinated. But again, got to have that negative test today. On top of the COVID tests, kids and teachers are dealing with some issues in the building. As recently this week, there were over 100 work orders that are open for things like HVAC and heating in schools. Leaking has also been a big issue. We are told that the department that's in charge of fixing those issues, that would be DGS, the Department of General Services, they are working on shortening that list of work orders. And DCPS students today might be noticing some new faces in the classroom when they return. Those migrants that have been bussed in from states like Texas and Arizona, many of them are children, and since they're here, the district is now starting to enroll them in class. Now, it's not exactly clear how many of these children will enroll, but in a statement sent to DC News Now, the school district says they have a process in place to support the families who arrived under these circumstances. So as you can see, a busy day here on all fronts between COVID-19, problems in the building, migrants, new classmates that all these kids are going to have. 117 schools in DC public schools between elementary, middle, and high schools. Now, it is going to look a little bit more normal this year than it has in years past. Kids still have to take those coronavirus tests, but inside the school, you don't have to wear a mask anymore, just getting back to school like it was in the good old days. Reporting live here in Northeast DC, Joseph Omo, DC News Now.
Thank you, Joseph. Well, Montgomery County school students head back to class today as well.
Yeah, that's where we find our Lex Juarez this morning. He was live at Rockville High School. Lex, what's going on there this morning?
Well, Corey, Tanaya, it's a little quiet right now, but it is getting exciting out here. We have the school superintendent who is out here, the president of the school board, and some other big names within the county. But look behind me right now. There's nothing going on here at the school. You can see there's some signage up. There's some things saying welcome back and some balloons that are about to get put up. But coming up here in the next half hour, the marching band's going to be out here. The cheerleaders are going to be having a pep rally as students come in for their first day at school. And they tell me this is all about just getting that momentum up, because this is the momentum and this excitement is going to carry them through the school year. The superintendent, who has been working in the school system for 21 years and is this year the officially named the superintendent. She did work in that role before now. She says she's excited to be offering some stability in that for the students and the parents this year, and that enrollment numbers are up throughout the school system. So it's just a really exciting day here in Montgomery County Schools. They also have a new school that's going to be opened just a little bit later today. They're going to be giving a tour at. So just lots of exciting things happening throughout the school system. 99% staffed, as well as the bus driver shortage. You know, they are starting to fill those positions as well, and all students are going to be able to get to school today. And those are some issues and things that they were worried about, some concerns leading up to this school year. So like I said, an exciting day out here. We're going to be out here all morning. We're going to be bringing you some live coverage from that pep rally today, as well as you know, being able to hear from the superintendent herself and the school board president. So make sure you stick with us, and I'll be back a little bit later on. For now, live in Montgomery County, Lex Juarez, DC News Now.
All right, Lex, thank you. Your time right now is 6:11. Breaking now, investors are bracing for the markets to open after a turbulent Friday. U.S. futures are pointing down. The Dow is down 233 points so far this morning. The S&P down about 35 points, while the Nasdaq also pointing lower at about 148 points down. On Friday, the Dow dropped more than 1,000 points, and Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell says they will likely need to keep interest rates high enough in order to curb inflation.